Good evening, guys.
Hi, guys. I'm Gabriel from Birmingham in the UK.
I'm Emily from Cambridge in the UK. And we are both in Rome. We work at the Ponte Lungo School in Rome. And we would like to know who you are and where you are and how you are.
I yearn for a time in which it was sufficient to call yourself first name of where you're from. I would love to rename myself as Gabriel of Birmingham. It would be fun.
I have no
I think
idea
that would be
what
great
you were
fun.
talking about.
Specifically in medieval times as well, where you could just have your first name or your Christian name, I guess, plus of your city. So I don't know, like Domenico of Padua. I would love to be Gabriel of Birmingham.
You'd have to go back to a time when there were only like 1,000 people in the country. So there was Gabriel of Birmingham, Gabriel of Edinburgh, Gabriel of Oxford.
That's true.
One in each city, and you needed to know
I'm sure
where from.
I'm sure there aren't many in Rome though. I'm sure there aren't many Gabriel of Birmingham in Rome. No, of course not. But there aren't many Gabriel. There aren't many Gabriel of Birminghams in Rome, I don't think.
Oh, in Rome. I see.
In Rome, exactly. So I think I could pass. Guys, who are you? We want to know. Who are
Next
you and
time
where
we log on, Gabe, you can put as your name, because it says Gabe and M. I could be M of Cambridge.
M of Cambridge and Gabe of Birmingham. Yeah, exactly. I think we should do that. Okay, so today we are looking at achievement. This boy on the left has clearly achieved something grand and fantastic, I think. So, discussing success, idioms about accomplishments, and phrasal verbs, or prefixes, I should say, without as well.
Yeah. Some questions to discuss. How do people become successful? What does it take? I think maybe we should answer number 2 before we answer anything else, though. How do you measure success?
It's a good point.
Because
it varies, doesn't it?
This is one of those slides where we could just spend the whole hour dissecting these questions and trying to analyze it.
How do you measure success, guys? Question to students and question to Emily. I suppose even what's very interesting is the word you as well in this. Is it personal you or impersonal you? Is it how do you measure success or is it how do you measure success?
Just to add another layer of complexity to the whole.
Let's say it's personal.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Okay. We can go with it. No, we can go with impersonal.
But if you say, "How do you measure success, Emily?" that makes it personal.
Not if I say, "How do you measure success, Emily?"
Yeah, that's true.
It really depends. How do you measure success?
I don't know. I think there's success on a person by person basis where I would assess based on what that person, what I imagine that person thinks about their own situation. And then I guess there would be measuring success by myself and my own opinions. But then there's yeah, I don't know. It's a very, very complicated question. Maybe the simplest is kind of taking worldly success and what a lot of people would recognize as worldly success.
Unfortunately, that correlates often with a very depressing view of, in some way, of success. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, like in some way, I mean, let's just throw out some ideas here. We can brainstorm. What do you think about like social development or something like that? Somebody who is incredibly socially valuable and does something to further no, I don't want to use the word equity in any sense, equality in some way, or would you say that person is successful?
I think that would depend.
I think perhaps we've got to draw the distinction between economic success and, like, in a way, uneconomic success. Not uneconomic success, but success which is divorced from the idea of financial gain in some way.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are lots of different measures of success, and financial money is just one among many. There could be
yes, but absolutely, but this is what I'm saying, that money in some ways has become so huge and so hugely important to the current system that we live in that it almost sometimes obscures this kind of language to the extent that success is a word that people often connote with money. I'm not saying that is the truth at all. What do you think?
Hi, Mauro.
Mauro.
Yeah, I think that's often where people's minds first go when you would say, like, number one, how do people become successful?
Yeah.
They make a lot of money would be a lot of people's first instinct.
Yeah.
We're talking about number two, Mauro, and we'd love to have your opinion.
Yeah. How do you measure success, Mauro?
I think that you could break down this question in so many different ways. So you could say kind of some sort of overall success, like someone is very satisfied with their position in life. But you could also say there's a success is kind of also another slightly different meaning would be when you have a goal, a specific goal, and you achieve that goal, then you have succeeded. So when you were talking about people whose aims aren't, it's not just about making money, but who are contributing socially something more valuable, you could say they're successful if they have striven their whole lives to make people's lives better. But then if they had a particular goal and they didn't live to see that goal through, maybe that person would feel like they were definitively not a success because they failed to achieve that goal or to see its fulfillment.
Yeah, well, to that extent as well, there's internal success and then there's external success, looking at it from a social perspective like that as well.
Yeah.
In that it's a very different notion depending on who is terming something or someone as success or successful.
Yeah.
Does anybody ever I don't know. This might be rebounding or how many people do you think consider themselves hugely successful internally, or a success internally?
Well, it might not be that they consider that they themselves personally are very successful, but that their mission or their goal has been a success. If you could see it, if you could see something accomplished.
And Julia, hello, Julia. Personal satisfaction, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, money again. We've kind of is one of these ones which immediately the mind leaps to with this notion. Helping people, yeah, social value.
Yeah. And then Mauro
says, I measure success by personal skills, and
yeah,
not by wealth, or a good economic position. Yeah. So again, this is kind of, it's interesting that you kind of put the subject of you in there as well. I measure success by personal skills, because that is the personal you, isn't it?
Yeah. Just when I would have sentenced, like Gabe said, it would be not by wealth. We need a noun in this case, and wealthy is the adjective. But good, yeah, good point.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I guess what's been covered by both Julia and Mauro there is this idea of personal satisfaction, personal skill again, which is definitely something important to consider when you're measuring success. I think in a personal light, maybe personal satisfaction.
Who is the most successful person that you know? What makes them successful? So question to Julia and Mauro, and to Gabe, and to myself, I guess, as well. Who's the most successful person? Well, I mean, I know financially, but that's pretty superficial measure. I have a friend who has a basically a condition where she gets so anxious about exams that she can't take exams. I mean, she can physically sit and take them, but they are completely unrepresentative of her actual academic abilities. And she wanted to be a doctor and study medicine, but she could not get into any medical schools through normal methods because she just couldn't perform in exams. And her coursework was great, but her grades were always below what they should have been.
Well, this is why they say coursework is by far the most representative, I think, because you don't need, it's not the, you don't get the social anxiety pressures and the anxiety pressures generally.
Yeah.
They say there have been loads of studies done on this that have said exams and interviews as well when it comes to finding the right applicants for jobs. Both interviews and exams, because they both require heavy, they take heavy tolls on anxiety and nerves, are not good representations of people's best, of actually getting the right people in the right places necessarily.
Yeah. But she was the most determined person I've ever come across in doing in pursuing her goal, which was to become a doctor. And it took her years and years, but she got a job. You can also, if you work for the NHS, there are other routes into studying medicine. And it took her a long time. I think maybe like 3 or 4 years of.
Do you go through social care or something like that?
Well, no, she got a, yeah. Well, no, not exactly social care, but she got a job working in the intensive care department of a hospital, basically, helping to clean and feed the patients. I can't remember what the name for that position is. Not a nurse, but something that doesn't require training like it does to become a nurse. But but basically the end of the story is that after years of resitting exams and desperately trying, she got onto a medical program.
Do you think that there's anything perhaps related to having to have worked at something for having really strived earlier, as you said, and having had to struggle, and then finally you reach the goal or develop? Do you think that is a measurement of success?
I think definitely. I think that heightens the success. I mean, obviously, it's great for anybody to be accepted to study medicine because it's quite competitive field.
Yes, absolutely.
You have to be very intelligent, and you have to be more intelligent than a lot of other people, or more appropriate in some way, because there are always more people who want to study medicine than can.
Yeah.
But if you've had to work as hard as she had to work to get there, it heightens the success.
Do you consider this rock climber successful in some way?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've had to do a lot of training to.
It's a bemusing photo. I was with this slide. Hello, Roberta from Salerno. To my mind, all people who are working in the care system are the most inspirational people in this situation.
Not sure what that word
is. That a really old use of? Do you know, like the really old word? I don't know.
I doubt it. I like the idea that it's a misspelling of here in this here situation. Roberta, that's a really great sentence. And nice expressions to my mind. That's lovely. But what does that penultimate word? What did you mean there?
What do you mean by air? There is a word ERE, but it doesn't really fit.
Yeah.
What did you mean? Yeah.
Maybe my teacher is the university professor. He knows lots of things. He's competent, and he's also gentle with students and researchers. Well, I mean, to be really good at your job is definitely, yeah, good.
Fantastic.
Oh, surreal.
Surreal. Oh, okay. yeah, that's quite true.
And for Julia, I think we would say my boss, not my chief, but my boss. Yeah, and I think I agree with Roberta, absolutely. Inspirational. It's interesting to use, definitely inspirational. It's interesting to use the word success in this context. What does that make them successful?
Yeah, because you did use the word inspirational as opposed to successful, which I completely agree with. Absolutely inspirational. Would you say that they're successful? They're successful in their own careers, absolutely, because to be able to be on the front line fighting this kind of stuff, I think it's just I don't know. This is kind of what I was touching on earlier when this idea of success. It's kind of often connoted a lot with career development and sometimes financial aspects too, which are a bit different from inspirational in a way. I don't know. What do you think?
Me, Roberta.
Both. The both. I think, as you said, we could discuss this for.
Yeah, and actually, we have been discussing it for a while now.
We should probably move to the next slide.
Okay, we're not doing this because that's a video. Okay.
Yeah.
Go next one.
Yep. Okay. So we have a gap fill. We've got the phrases on the right. Fit them in to the gaps on the left. Do you think we should go through some of these first,
I think
shall we go through? Okay. Rags to riches. Rags to riches means to go from extreme either poverty or an unknown background to extreme wealth and fame. Rags to riches. Rags are like scraps of clothing.
Think of Cinderella.
Yeah.
When on the night of the ball, when she goes from her
rags to yes, that is a very physical change, isn't it? Of rags to riches. Yes.
Her beautiful princess dress. That's literal rags to riches.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think definitely it means poverty to wealth.
I think also with that though comes this idea of obscurity, maybe to because with Cinderella she goes from literally a kitchen into the center. She goes from an underground kitchen to the center of the ball, doesn't she?
Yeah.
It is primarily an economic thing, though, isn't it? Or a wealth thing. Okay, should we move on to the next one?
Yeah. To move up in the world. That's probably fairly self-explanatory. To move up in the world. I'm trying to explain it without using the word success now, and actually my instinct was to say to become more and more successful, whatever that means. To be promoted.
To be more socially recognized.
That could be it.
Again, just trying not to use successful because it's an absolute pitfall. To move up in the world. I think you could say to be more socially recognized, maybe to get more power in a way as well. You could. Although power is really an obscure, nebulous term as well. Leaps, leaps and bounds. Just kind of means a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you say something happens by leaps and bounds, it means kind of. What do you think? I mean, just kind of a lot, a big shift.
Yeah. A leap and a bound, these are synonyms for jump. So if you think of big jumps, not slow, gradual process, but by big jumps.
Yeah.
Come a long way. That's fine. I don't think we need to talk about that. Ahead of the pack. So the pack usually refers to a group of dogs. You have a pack of dogs or a pack of wolves. So if you are, this is the pack, you are ahead of the pack. It implies that you're leading the group. You're
Not
more
compound,
advanced.
collective, not compound. My mind today. He was breaking away from the pack. We have another Pink Floyd reference there. All right, okay, front runner. The first or the favoured, I think, is of somebody. If somebody is the front runner, for instance, in a race, it means they are ahead of the pack in a way, or they're the first, the favoured.
Yeah. Joe Biden is the front runner for the Democratic nomination in the US election, for example. And then top dog is another canine metaphor. As probably fairly self-explanatory too. The person in charge. Okay, cool. So Jane has in her career. So I think Roberta maybe is answering the first space there. But if we look at the grammar, so leaps and bounds functions like an adverb, which means it doesn't really work here. We would need object of the verb has, or we would need a past participle if it were the perfect. And there are no nouns that would make sense. So we probably
past participle is what we're looking for here.
And there is only one. That was a weird cough.
Excuse me.
Yeah, great.
Has
Roberta.
come a long way. Exactly, Roberta. Has come a long way in her career. At the moment, she is the for an important promotion at work.
So Roberta, Julia, Mauro. The something.
Front runner. Excellent, Roberta. She's the front runner for an important promotion.
Jane says it is both her work ethic and her and her positive attitude that put her at her workplace. So that put her.
Yes, in this sense, there are a lot of kind of race metaphors, and there's a lot of race imagery that's used in relation to success, isn't there?
Yeah.
Particularly canine race.
So what do we think for number 3?
Ahead of the pack.
Good, Rebecca.
Fantastic. Well done to both. Jane grew up in a poor family, so her success is a true story.
Yeah, great. Roberta and Julia got it.
Well done. Rags to riches.
True rags to riches story. Jane admits that it feels great to and have more money and status, but she also believes that her greatest achievement is her courage. Great, Roberta's got it. 2, move up in the world.
Her confidence has grown in over the past several years.
Perfect.
Leaps and bounds. Well done, guys.
Whether she becomes the, I think I can probably give it. Whether she becomes the top dog at work or not, Jane feels she has achieved her own version of success. Okay.
I like the phrase "big cheese" instead. I would say "big cheese" instead in place of top dog. But I wonder how informal that is. The big cheese.
Yeah, I love it. I'm writing it for you.
Meaning the.
Expressions. Like,
Whether she
really registered with you as being absurd
until you actually really look at them, don't you?
You see them in a particular context, yeah.
In this very formal language as well, whether she becomes the big cheese at work or not, Jane feels she has achieved her own version of success. I might now change my name to Gabriel of Birmingham, the big cheese. Okay, good stuff. So, how in the idioms that we've looked at, how is success being measured? So we have 3 categories: in relation to others, in relation to somebody's past, and from a starting point in the past to the present moment.
And if you will notice, number 2 and number 3 are the same. In relation to somebody's past, from a starting point in the past to the present moment.
Do you think that number 3 is trying to hint at in some way the present perfect? I don't know.
It could be. I remember.
Do you think that's what it's trying to do?
Confusing me last time I did it. I didn't get the correct answers. Number 1 is okay.
Yeah.
But 2 and 3, I think we should just basically take as one category. We could just say 1 or 2. Maybe the students know better. Sometimes the students actually are better at working with the activity than I am, because Not that I ever have a habit of overthinking or overanalyzing things, but
Well, this is why I'm trying to look at whether it's potentially that they're used with present perfect. Maybe number 3 is used with present perfect more than. But that's not true necessarily, because you can use. No, okay. Let's see what happens.
Well, Julia has given us some answers for number 1, but I think what we have to do is go one by one through the expressions.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Julia. But I think we have to list them as they go down. Yeah.
So leaps and bounds. Well, I guess by exclusion, Julia is saying that would be
2 or 3. Yeah.
2 or 3. Yeah. That's okay. Cool.
Okay. Rags to riches.
So Julia and Roberta and anyone else who can tell us rags to riches. Julia says 2. I think that's probably.
I think it's 2 as well. Yeah.
Good. Front runner. Julia has said 1, and that is accurate. To move up in the world.
I think they. No, I'm still trying to find a distinction for this arbitrary division between 2 and 3.
I think what would be better is wait till we've got all the answers and then see if we can distinguish them.
And then we can argue about it. Yeah. Front runner, exactly. Hang on. What are we on now, guys?
Guys, I don't know what. So for Roberta, I don't know what which expression you mean.
Yeah.
Front runner or move up in the world?
Can you just say one word with the number?
I think Julia's talking about move up in the world. It would be quite useful for us guys if you could just put like move and then plus the number. Or front plus the number, or top or plus the number.
Can't get that song out of my head now.
Okay.
Move up in the world, 3.
Yeah.
It's definitely 2 or 3.
Oh, to move up in the world. Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah.
2 or 3, definitely, yeah.
And for us, 2 and 3 are the same, I think. Well, for me anyway.
Exactly the same, yeah.
Yeah.
I think potentially maybe that's what Roberta was putting up for as well. Okay. Top dog.
Julia's already given us top
Julia's
dog.
answered as not.
Yeah, in relation to others. Good. Come a long way. I think Roberta's talking about top dog.
Yeah, I think so as well. And then 2, 2 or 3.
For come a long way, yeah.
Maybe 3, the leaps and bounds and come a long way are measuring distance in some way, or the extent.
Yeah, but
leaps and oh no, it's still a pointless. It's still a pointless distinction, but in that 3 is about the amount, and come a long way again is the amount.
You're right. It's kind of metaphorical distance.
Whereas rags to riches is is too is just like two blank comparatives in a way, as is move up in the world is just saying you've moved. It's again, it doesn't make sense of relation.
Kind of describes a physical, like you're in a physically different position to before, but it's like vertical distance instead of horizontal distance. I think it's
ahead of the pack. Julia's given as one again.
Yeah, good. So this difference between 2 and 3, guys, you can just ignore. It's one category together.
Yeah. Bizarre distinction.
Okay. Well, we have 7 minutes left, and maybe we can spend that just answering these questions, which are to practice some of those expressions. Oh,
yeah.
One is a terrible question. Okay, maybe number 2 is better. Do you agree, Gabe?
Yeah, but I think my threshold of questions on some of these slides has dropped significantly, so it didn't look too bad to me.
I just explained the story.
Right. No, I didn't read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we do number 2? Do you think it is easy for people to move up in the world? What is easy or hard about it? I suppose it's more opinionated as well, rather than number 1, which is narrative based.
Yeah, and number 2 could be a more interesting thing. So what could make it more difficult for certain people than other people to move up in the world? Because do you think it's easy for people? That's a very general question. That's almost impossible to answer because there is no answer that applies to everybody. There are all sorts of categories that, people's situations are all very different. But we want to hear from the students. What makes it easy or hard for someone to move up in the world?
I've got a good short answer for question 3, where if they're known as a top dog.
Huh? Say again?
I've got a very short, curt answer for number 3. If they're known as a top dog.
What? I feel like I'm supposed to get something.
Ooh. We've gone Daft Punk.
Oh, you did earlier as well. So what is?
Okay.
Can you hear me now? What is your correct answer for number 3? I feel like I'm not getting something.
No, it's fine. The connection's not great again. It's a bit. I don't know what's going on.
Can you hear me?
It's very broken up.
Okay.
I won't say anything.
We want to hear from the students. Hopefully they're writing long responses.
Mm. I can hear you better now, yeah.
We've only got a couple of minutes. I'll take us off so they can see number 3 as well. When you think about the top dog in a workplace, what type of person is he or she? Did you have a rude answer?
Your socioeconomic background. I always have a rude answer. For number 3, yeah, I just can't imagine the phrase "top dog" again for me. I think it's a really horrible phrase. I don't know what it is. I would prefer big cheese.
Yeah, big cheese in a workplace. What type of person is he or she?
The big cheese. I think there's much more of an element of irony with a big.
Yeah. You've got to be able to laugh at someone. Okay, well, I don't know if you guys are writing to us, but we have to finish in a minute. So for number 2...
Okay, I've just written an example, for instance. The ability to move up in the world is dictated as much, and in fact greatly more so, by your socioeconomic background as it is by personal ambition.
Yeah.
Greatly more so isn't very. Let's ignore it for now. Discuss. That's almost an essay question, I think. Okay. We discussed idioms there.
Well, we've got to.
I hope that they were okay. Here we go. Reply from Rebecca. Experience.
No doubt is to find yourself, because every experience gives you the change to open your mind and know new cultures and people who can enrich your own knowledge.
To move up in the world.
Don't worry about the typos.
So, no, right.
That's a really nice description. I'm not totally sure.
What is easy?
I think Roberta is more describing how you can
move up in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, in a more personal way.
It is easiest to find, and thus you move up in the world because every experience can give you the chance to open your mind.
Yeah.
And that's a way of moving up in some sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that sense, I am. Yeah.
Well, that's a nice place to finish. That's quite an optimistic bit to finish on. And we're a couple of minutes late, so we need to stop now, guys. But good stuff. And
have a really nice evening. Have a nice dinner. And we'll see you next time.
bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.